This conference will now be recorded.
See, I was on it today.
So yeah, you really gonna be on to it. Put your screen on so you be on the video today. Okay,
I'll
so
put
we're
the screen on. You want our videos on? Our cameras on? Or no?
put your cameras on. So if you didn't finish, I will allow a later submission later on this afternoon. But I want to look at A and see how many people got A right. So Ms. Buford, lead us through number A, situation A.
Professor, you just put me on Front Street like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's the first thing you did?
The first thing I did is I went down and I looked at the raw materials for the ink. And it was 2 at 10, which is 20.
Okay.
And then I went to paper, which is 2 at 20, which is 40.
Up one. So the ink was 20.
Mm-hmm. And the paper was 40.
So what was your total cost?
60.
So we need a 60 in here.
Mm-hmm.
Then what did you do?
Then I went to part 3. Oh no, wait, I'm moving too fast. Then I did the labor cost, which was 2 at 10. Mm-hmm. Which was 20.
So then we'll put the 20 up here as the labor cost.
Mm-hmm.
And then what did we do?
And then I went to part 3.
Mm-hmm. And the total overhead was what?
40,000.
Quantity to be produced?
2,000.
Labor productivity rate?
2.
So what's the total estimated hours going to be?
4,000.
So what's our POR?
10.
How we get 10? 40,000 divided by 4. 10. So we know we got one of our answers correct.
Mm-hmm.
Then what we're going to do?
Then we're gonna wait, let me go down.
We need the unit manufacturing cost.
Mm-hmm.
What's that going to be for overhead?
20.
How you get 20?
I did you do line 3. I did 2 times 10.
2 labor productivity times POR 10 gives you 20. So what we're going to do with the 20?
You're gonna put it at the top.
Well, not quite to the top, are we? Here?
Wait, I can't see what you. Yes, right there. That's what I meant. And then we add it up, and it's gonna be 100.
So total product cost is 100.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do with the 100?
We put it at the estimated unit cost.
What was our selling price multiple?
Our selling price was
Multiples 4.
4, yeah. So then you just do that by 4, which is 400.
And we're done. Any questions?
Yeah, when you guys do B, can you go like just a little bit slower? Because I'm trying to like follow along.
Now we go. We aren't gonna do B and C. That's for you all to do. Turn in
Okay.
later. So you went too fast.
Well, just a little bit. I was keeping up with the majority of it, but some of it I
Oh,
was.
I'm sorry.
No, yeah, you good, you good. Like I'm trying to play, catch up. Really, is what I'm doing. So.
So go over it again for Buford, since they'll be able to turn in the other part later on their own.
Okay. So you want to start all the way over, or do you want to just go to part 3? Or do you just want to start completely over?
You probably need to start completely over, but let me do one thing. Let's see. Oh, Casco has it.
He did more than me. My computer was slow, so I have to finish soon.
Jenkins has it.
Yeah, I got mine completely wrong. I was trying to like look up how to do it while doing it while racing gets the 15-minute clock, and so yeah, mine was a mess. Yeah, see, mine is a mess.
This is beautiful here.
Don't put me on blast. I told you that my computer was freezing. That's not fair. Don't put me on blast like that, Professor.
He just smiling too, like.
Well,
At least I know how to do it. I just didn't have the time. My computer was freezing. What you want me to do?
I was just checking this, just seeing where we were. I had to look at that so I know, so you know how fast you need to go when you re-explain it.
Okay. Let's do it over.
I got a couple other people in here now. Let's see, Scott.
Oh yeah, see, somebody else can explain. It just don't have to be me.
We'll let you try again. So look like you need to go a little bit slower.
Okay.
So I'm gonna take everything out, and we're gonna go all the way back over again.
Okay.
So we're gonna take everything out. All these out. So what we're trying to do is to start this problem off and determine 3 things. We want to know what the unit cost of the product is. We want to know what the selling price, and we get that selling price by multiplying the unit cost by the selling price multiple. So once we determine this number, we come in here and pick up the multiple, multiply it out. Then the predetermined overhead, we do that in part 3. So these are our assumptions: the quantity, selling price multiple, raw materials ink, raw materials paper, direct labor productivity, direct labor rate, and estimated overhead. So when we look at this rate, if it takes 2 hours, we know we're doing what?
We multiplying.
1 hour,
Multiplying.
20 per hour.
Dividing.
Okay, so that sets you up in terms of, okay, when I start to deal with this labor, multiply multiply, divide. Okay, so let's go. We're gonna go through the A one once again. So we now gonna start on this total product cost, okay, for A.
Okay, and which is our raw materials, and ink is 2 at 10.
So
So
it took
the
2
quantity is 2,
at 10.
and the cost is $10. And when you multiply that, you have 20, which is 2 times 10.
Any question on that by anybody? We
Nope,
simply,
straightforward.
so that's straightforward.
Yes, sir.
And you do the same for paper, which is quantity of 2, cost of 20. And when you multiply that, you get 40.
So the total raw material cost is gonna be what?
60. And you get that by adding 20 plus 40.
20 ink, 40 paper, 60. And what we're gonna do with the 60, Ansby?
The total, the 60 goes with the total raw materials cost. Let me see. Yeah, right there. Unit raw materials cost.
Okay. And what do we do next?
We're going to do the labor hours, which is 2. The labor rate is at $10. And when you multiply that, you get 20.
So, and what we're gonna do with the 20?
We're going to put
The
the
20
20 in
goes,
the.
the
Go
direct
ahead.
labor cost. Yeah.
So we get working on the total
Right, yeah.
product. Step by step. We did raw materials, we did labor. Now we get to get a unit overhead cost in here.
Okay.
We do that in this bottom one. On the first line,
Okay, part 3.
Mm-hmm.
See.
part 3. What's on that
Okay.
first line?
$40,000.
Yeah, from the actual estimate overhead, right? An assumption.
Yes.
To be produced.
Okay.
2,000.
Everyone see the 2,000? That's a given.
Yeah, quantity. Yeah, I see it.
Labor productivity is what?
2. And you get that
2.
from
Yeah.
assumptions.
So
Yeah.
if you got to make 2,000 things and it takes you 2 hours each, what's your total hours going to be?
4,000.
Got to make 2,000 things times
Yeah,
2.
2,000 times 2, 4,000. Okay.
What's our POR?
Our POR is 10
1 divided by
divided by 4.
4. So how much is that?
10.
10. That's one of our answers. We take that up to the top.
Let's see.
That's one of the answers of predetermined overhead rate.
Okay.
Now so we got everything in here except
The unit manufacturer overhead cost.
get this number here now.
Mm-hmm.
And that number is going to be what?
20.
How we get 20?
We got 20 because we did 10 times 2.
So we multiply the POR by line 3 if it takes more than 1 hour to make it. So 2 times the 10 gives you 20.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
What we're going to do with the 20?
We're going to put the 20 in the total unit product cost and then add up the whole
How much is this?
100. 100.
Now we can put the 100 right here.
Mm-hmm.
Selling price multiple is 4, so what's going to go here?
400.
400, yeah. Okay.
Everybody work that one now.
Yeah, when y'all do it, was so easy. It was, it was straightforward.
So you just have to
I
make
appreciate y'all.
hard.
Yeah, it's not hard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was straightforward.
so I'm going to let you all work on B and C, and then we'll look at them at the beginning of the next class period. But you got to work these, okay?
Okay,
Okay.
can you open it back up, the assignment, so I can turn mine in precisely?
Am I in this?
Mm-hmm.
Assignments. All right, you got 7 o'clock now.
We got to what?
7 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
That should be ample time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go and see. Right center. And let's see what these projects look like. So Barlow, what do we have here in this team? Is there anybody? What is this?
I'm here. Sorry, I have a lot of noise in the background from my son, but that's a body scrub. So group 4 decided to produce an all-natural body scrub that consists of 4 low-cost natural ingredients that help to improve the health of skin. So that's what that is. I just wanted to be we just wanted to be creative with our picture.
Okay. Okay, so you got 4 ingredients you're gonna buy and make this scrub, and you're gonna mail it to me.
Okay, that sounds good.
What do we have here?
That's group 1. That's organic shampoo and conditioner.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
These are gonna be the containers that are gonna come in.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. So why are people gonna want to buy your shampoo and conditioner? What's it gonna do?
It's organic and it's for all hair types.
Okay, organic for all hair types.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Clifton, we only want one product. So she sent us an ad, not a picture. Is this what, group 2? Crowder's growling. Okay. All right, we would have liked to seen a picture and only one product. So y'all got that clear? All right. Group 4 is making hair and beard growth serum. What we're gonna make this hair and beard growth serum out of? This crowd. What we're gonna make it out of?
I'm sorry, I was muted. So those are the bottles that it comes in. It comes in just like that. So it's a serum.
Okay, that's them again. Because this is the one I'm gonna look at. So that's them again. Okay. So, you have to have your products, you got to make them and then mail them to me. Okay. Okay, so we're moving on into the managerial accounting cycle. This equation is always our basics. And we spent the first week determining the unit cost, product cost, and selling price. And we put a lot of time on that because you can't make these journal entries if these entries are correct. So we're going to journalize entries. Then we're going to post them to the ledger. Got some new accounts. We're going to prepare the trial balance, the financial statements, and closing entries. So for the rest of this week, it looks like we'll be on journal entries. Okay, so I think that, well, we can post them to the ledger though. So we're on journal entries. We should be able to post those to the ledger and get done what we need to do. Okay. So let's look at how we're gonna make these journal entries. So let's look at how we're gonna make those journal entries. And of course, the spreadsheet for manufacturing accounting is in there with job order, first of all, where you have a sheet where you determine your product cost, then your journal entries, your T accounts, cost of goods manufacturing, cost of goods sold statement, then the trial balance, that can be first, then those statements, income statement, statement of retained earnings, and balance sheet. So I say we're doing the same thing.
Is that under spreadsheet, Professor? Sorry to interrupt you.
Pardon?
Is that under spreadsheet manufacturing accounting? Or?
On the job order costing, I believe. Weren't you supposed to do me a spreadsheet? You forgot?
I did, but yeah, it's under spreadsheet, under job
right.
Costing. Yeah.
Okay. So let's look at this sheet. In making our journal entries, I guess I can't. What we do, we break the journal entries up into stages. Okay. So in stage 1, I'm gonna bold it. I'll make this a 16 font. So in stage 1, and this is just to help you with these journal entries, this is called the acquisition stage. This is where we buy the raw material. So we're in this stage, the acquisition stage, we're making journal entries. We debit raw materials inventory and credit accounts payable in this, in this journal entry. So in your in-class problem, which we will be doing next time. You're going to debit raw materials, ink, and credit accounts payable. So we're working with those same two things, our book and the ink and paper. So the first thing you do, you buy the ink and you buy the paper. So this is stage one, the acquisition stage. And you might have additional entries in a problem where you start the company contributing cash. You might buy a building or something like that. So all of this is acquisition. So the first thing you got to do when you make a product is you got to buy the raw materials. Okay. So that's how we start. Then we move on to stage two. In stage two is where we make the item. So we have transfers to production. And in this stage, and going back over here, you'd have a raw material. So if somebody said they had 4 items, then they'd have 4 entries like this for the raw materials. So we'll only have 2 raw materials here, so we have to buy 2. Now in stage 2, there are fundamentally 3 journal entries that we make. So that's fundamentally, I'll make them red, and let me make them 18. In the first journal entry, we debit work in process and credit raw materials. So if you got more than 1 raw material, you have to keep making this entry. So we'd have one of these entries for raw materials inventory, for raw materials ink, another one for raw materials paper. And what you're going to see in stage 2, we debit and work in process each time. So we debit work in process for the raw materials, ink and paper, and there's 2, so there'd be 2 entries. If we had 3 raw materials, it'd be 3 entries. In that second entry, we pay the workers, so we debit work in process and credit cash. So the workers who are going to make the product, they come, we hire them, they work, and they want some cash money. And then our third entry is our work in process debit again and credit manufacturing overhead. So this is where we transfer to work in process the estimated overhead. And when we make this entry, we're going to debit the labor hours, however many labor hours we had. I said debit, we're going to multiply it. Times the POR. So this is where that POR comes into play. So when you make your third type of entry in the work in process stage where you're making the item, in that third entry, we're going to debit the labor hours. I left out labor hours. So no, that's not going to work. So these, I'm just putting the labor hours in here. So you're going to multiply the labor hours times the POR. So that's how you get the amount for this journal entry. Stage 1, we buy the raw materials. Stage 2, we transfer the raw materials, we hire the workers, and we estimate the overhead, and we make the product. Okay. Raw materials, labor, estimated overhead. Then we go on to stage 3. Doesn't want to move. In stage 3, that's where we finalize the items and we transfer them to finished good. So that's our goal to get them finished. So in this stage, once we finish the items, we're gonna debit finished goods and transfer and credit work in process. Stage 1, we buy the raw materials. Stage 2, we make the item. Stage 3, we transfer the completed items to finished goods. So that's our goal, not to leave them in here. Buy raw materials, make something, put it in finished goods so we can sell it. Any questions on our 3 stages?
No.
Okay. In stage 4, we're going to do a couple things. The main thing that's going to happen in stage 4, we're going to sell the item. That's why we make them. So we buy the raw materials, make the item, then we transfer it to finished goods. Then when we sell it, we're in stage 2, sale of finished goods. So when we're selling items, we debiting cash, account receivable, and crediting sales. So now we're in the old inventory accounting. But we also are debiting cost of goods sold and crediting finished goods inventory, because every time you sell something, you got to debit cost of goods sold and credit finished goods inventory. Those 2 entries are standing and you should be familiar with those. Now, there's another entry that we're going to make, and we'll come back to it later, but we're estimating the overhead here. When the actual overhead is paid, then it may be different from what we estimated, and so we got to catch that up and put it into cost of goods sold. If we didn't estimate enough, we debit cost of goods sold and credit manufacturing overhead, or we did too much, we debit manufacturing overhead and credit cost of goods sold. So we'll come back to that, but that's the the little change that we have. Moving right along, stage 5. Stage 5 is where we do all of those journal entries from financial accounting, from accounting 1. So we pay all the operating expenses, selling expenses, administrative expenses, and dividends. So I don't even put those in. Those journal, you had your 22 journal entry types, other than the ones dealing with the sale of the items and the cost of goods sold. They all occur in stage 5. Any questions? Any questions?
So far, no.
Say what?
I mean, I don't want to speak. I said so far, no. I don't want to speak for the entire class, but for me personally, no. Like straightforward right now.
Straightforward. Okay. So let's look at these stages again. So if you look in the primer, stage one, we get the raw material. So here they're getting the raw materials to make the product. That's that journal entry. Stage two, they make an item. Those 3 journal entries where you make the item. So the workers come into play to get the raw materials and make the item. Stage 3, you package it and you're getting it ready to sell. That's stage 3. Stage 4, you made it and you sell it. So this is where so stage 4 is where you sell an item. And in stage 5, this is where you're doing your planning and everything. You working on your sales estimate and reviewing your financial statements. So you're paying selling, administrative expenses, and dividends. So this is just a listing of the same thing that was on that spreadsheet. Here's your manufacturing company chart of accounts. I didn't put numbers in. You got 3 types of inventories: raw materials, work in process, finished goods. And you got the cost of goods sold and manufacturing overhead. But then you got all of those other accounts you had before. So we have some new manufacturing accounts. Then we got to prepare our financial statements. Cost of goods manufacturer statement. And you're going to find that this statement picks up the raw materials cost, labor, and the overhead and adds them together to get the total cost. Add beginning inventory less ending inventory cost of goods manufactured. So this is the main new statement that you're dealing with in terms of how much did it cost us to make the item in 2013. Cost of goods sold statement is statement, it's not that difficult. Beginning finished goods inventory at cost of goods manufactured, less finished goods inventory, the unadjusted cost of goods sold, then we adjust it when we work with that estimated overhead to get our adjusted cost of goods sold. Then here's the income statement. So the income statement, fairly simple: sales less cost of goods sold, which is coming from the cost of goods sold statement. Cost of goods manufactured, the $1,000,008, is coming from the cost of goods manufactured statement. So the costs continue to flow. And here is your in-class example problem. Here is your in-class example problem. So this should be in the primer, where we got all of these same assumptions, except, we estimate the overhead. We do it. We talk about the types. Quantity to be produced, 50,000, selling price 3 times the unit cost. So the first thing you got to do is to come up with your job order costing, okay? So let me, I'll delete those, I'll delete these. But when you work this problem, that's the first thing you got to do. Then we have our stage 1 journal entries. Form the corporation. We purchase equipment. Then we purchase our raw materials. Stage 2, we take everything in the working process. Stage 3, so we do completion. Stage 4, sale. Stage 5, selling administrative expenses. So you got to make all those journal entries, then post them to T accounts, then prepare these statements. Then there's a sample worked out problem. So what I'm going to do is to begin the process of assigning this problem to people in the class. Okay? So we got to get this problem assigned to people so they can work on it. So I can put it over here. Okay, so let's see if we can get this problem assigned. We need
Now,
somebody.
I don't think that's wise because don't nobody even be in this class. People be logging on and they will disappear, Professor. And
Professor, what number?
You telling on yourself, Corey?
no.
Well, it's points, so did you all get a summary of your grades? Did I get that to you?
No, I didn't get nothing.
Did I put that in course content yet?
I don't think so. I can check. Professor, but what page do you know approximately? Because I know you be changing stuff. In the primer, is that like 280? Hold on, I'm trying to find it.
Let me see if I can find this page in here.
Oh, I see it. It's on page 289. The cost assumption.
Okay, so 289. So let's see how we're going to sign this problem out. So we always get a volunteer. So the first thing we got to do is a job order using job order cost and unit cost worksheet.
Mm-hmm.
So who's going to volunteer for that?
When is this due?
We'll probably
I'll
start
volunteer.
Wednesday and finish it on Friday.
On Friday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
I'll volunteer. I don't know what I'm getting myself into.
Clifton, why don't you do the job order costing worksheet? All you're doing is those three things: unit cost, selling price, and POR. You think you can handle that, Clifton?
Yes, sir.
Okay, see? So Clifton has it.
Okay, so wait, what am I, is it on Blackboard?
Same thing you just did on that quiz.
Okay, well put it on the screen so I can do it from my phone because I'm not even on my laptop.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, do we turn it in or is this like a verbal thing?
It's going to be verbal kind of. We'll have a class grade based on how y'all do.
Oh, okay, I got you. So if you put it on Blackboard, then yeah, I got you. I'll do that.
I'll put it in Blackboard.
Okay, then yeah, the next class I'll have that prepared.
Okay, so
is that
then
what
we
you're saying?
to stage one.
Okay.
So, Dansby,
Yes, sir.
you think you can handle stage one?
I can do my best.
So in stage 1, it's 4 journal entries.
Okay.
And in this stage, you form the corporation, you purchase some equipment with a note, and you bind the ink, and you bind, I think we just have ink here. I think we made it simple. Okay. So that's just 3 journal entries. 2 of them are very easy.
Okay. All right, I got you. Yes, sir.
So let me put this answer down by that.
Stage
Can you share your
1.
screen?
Okay, let me share the screen. Okay. Well, let me finish the assignment, then I'm gonna come back and share the screen on all of it. So I have your names up here now. Damn. Then we need stage 2, which is the work in process stage. So we'll give that to Crowder. Got it, Crowder? Okay, so she'll be scratching that too. So you scratch it out, then you send it to Buford once you get it done, in case you still scratching next class period. Then we have stage 3, and we'll give that to Buford. That's where we transfer an item from finished goods.
Mm-hmm.
Then the sale of the finished goods, we'll give that to Jenkins. So you got stage.
So I have stage 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just 1 journal entry.
Okay, I can do it.
Jenkins has stage 4. And then for stage 5, who do we have left? We'll get up to everybody who's left. So Magan, Maghan, you got the first one. Which is the selling expenses. And then Nicholas, you got the administrative expenses. And then for the dividends, it's gonna be Kara. Kara, you said you wanted to talk to me, you can just stay on the line. Stay on here till we finish, and then we can talk once class is over.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So you got to make those journal entries, and not only do you have to make the journal entries. Now let me go back in here now. Let me go on and get it shared now. Okay, so here's the problem. Everybody see the problem. I'm gonna put it in course content. So this job order costing in class exam, I'm gonna put this problem in course content. is a unit costing worksheet. Clifton's going to complete this. So you just got one situation. You're working on 3 for later. You determine which one it is, and you get this correct. Once you get it correct, you send it to Dansby.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Dansby, you're going through and doing the initial buying of items. Okay.
Okay. All right, gotcha.
Then Crowder, you're doing stage 2, transferring items in the work in process. So what you're going to see is that we're supposed to make 50,000 items, okay? So we transferring in items for 50,000 items. So once you finish your stage, you can send it on to Buford. And so Buford, but only 40,000 of the books are completed. So you can't transfer out all of the cost. You can only transfer out a portion. Then Jenkins, you got the sale, you got the sale of the finished goods and the overhead. Then Megan, Nicholas, and Kiara, you got this next part, which is just simple journal entries. Now, once you make your journal entries, then you got post-ability accounts. So I'll put these in there. So the first person makes journal entries and they shift it to the next person. So you're shifting not only your journal entries, but what you have posted in the T accounts. Then we have the preparation of the financial statements. So cost of goods manufacturer statement, we'll give that to Buford. Cost of goods sold statement, we'll give that to Jenkins. And then the income statement, I want to give that to. I'll give that to Dansby, income statement.
No, you didn't give McCaskill anything.
I didn't give you anything, McCaskill?
No, sir.
I left you out. Well, McCaskill, you take cost of goods sold statement.
Okay.
Then Jenkins, you got the income statement now.
Okay, can you pause that?
Say what now?
Nothing, he
Okay.
good.
So you'll have a blank one. See, this one's kind of filled out, so I will go on and get this to you, but it'll be blank. I just had some answers already in. But you started with the same thing and just going in those stages, so everybody's working on it. And then by Friday, we'll see where we are. But eventually, each team will do one of these. So next week, sometime, once we get through, get this done between Wednesday and Friday, then each team will work one by themselves next week. And then you have your study problem that you'll do. And then once you complete your study problem, it should be close to midterm, and everybody will do an individual midterm. So you see how we're proceeding. So this week, we're just going to concentrate, and we'll see where we get. But we're looking at this example So we've gone through a lot, but it's, you know, it's not as much as it might seem because I've laid it out in stages for you. You just stay in your stages. And once you do that, you know, you'll be okay. So everybody that's looking at a piece of it now, then each team will look at a whole one next week. Then you work on your study problem. I might give you a class day off to work on your study problem. So it can't be an excuse that you couldn't meet to work on it. Then after that, should be around, when is midterm? Does anybody know?
Midterms is in 2 weeks, right?
Okay, so we'll be about on target, but we'll see what we get.
Okay.
So I think the, go through here. And you got an example in here. Okay, and then we have the study problem. So we have some basic study problems on this that's in here, and then eventually you do one on your own. Any questions?